The arena pulsed with electric energy, thousands of voices roaring as my fingers danced across the keyboard, each click a heartbeat in the chaos of battle. My team, Eclipse Vanguard, was 1 kill away from securing our spot in the $10 million Global Apex Tournament Finals, and I could taste victory until I saw them. My mother, aunt, grandfather, and little sister stood at the edge of the stage, holding a banner that read, "We love you, stop gaming." The crowd's cheers faded to a dull hum in my ears. My HUD blinked red. My character was taking damage, but I couldn't tear my eyes from the scene unfolding. Mom's face was streaked with tears, her hands trembling as she gripped the banner. Aunt Clara, ever the family enforcer, stood rigid, her lips pursed in judgment. Grandpa looked frail but resolute, and my sister, Lily, barely 16, stared at me with wide, pleading eyes. They thought they were saving me. They thought I was addicted, lost to a world of pixels and headshots. They didn't know this was my life, my dream, my everything. I'm Ethan Caldwell, 30 years old, a professional esports player who'd clawed his way from a small-town basement to the global stage. Gaming wasn't just a hobby. It was my career, my passion, the one place where I felt alive. I'd spent a decade honing my skills, sacrificing sleep, relationships, and any semblance of a normal life to compete at this level. The $10 million prize wasn't just money. It was validation, a chance to prove I wasn't the failure my family thought I was. But here they were, staging an intervention in front of 20,000 fans and 1 million livestream viewers, convinced I was throwing my life away. The match timer ticked down. 30 seconds. My teammate, Raj, screamed through my headset, "Ethan, focus. We're getting flanked." I snapped back to the screen, my heart pounding as I repositioned my character, Spectre, to cover our left flank. A grenade exploded on screen, and I barely dodged, my health bar dipping dangerously low. The crowd roared, but all I could hear was Mom's voice from years ago. "You're wasting your life, Ethan. Get a real job." I wasn't that kid anymore, the one who hid in his room to escape Dad's drinking or Mom's endless disappointment. Gaming had saved me, given me purpose when the world felt like it was collapsing. I'd built a name, Spectre 7, that commanded respect in the esports world. My team relied on me, and this tournament was our shot at history. But as I gunned down an enemy sniper, I caught Lily's gaze again. She looked so small, so scared, like she thought she was losing her big brother. The intervention wasn't a surprise, not really. For months, Mom had been leaving voicemails, each one sharper than the last. "You're 30, Ethan. You can't play games forever." Aunt Clara had sent articles about gaming addiction, highlighting symptoms I didn't have. Grandpa, who barely understood what a computer was, called it that devil's machine. Even Lily, who used to watch me play when she was little, had started asking if I was okay. They didn't get it. They saw the late nights, the energy drinks, the missed family dinners, and they built a narrative that I was spiraling. They didn't see the strategy, the teamwork, the discipline it took to compete at this level. The match ended with a clutch play. Raj's perfectly timed ultimate wiped the enemy team, and the arena exploded in cheers. We'd won the semifinals. My screen flashed victory, but my stomach churned. The intervention banner was still there, now sagging as Mom's arms shook. The stage manager, a wiry guy named Kyle, rushed over, whispering something to Aunt Clara. She nodded, her eyes locked on me like I was a problem to be fixed. I pulled off my headset, the crowd's noise crashing over me like a wave. My teammates were celebrating, high-fiving, but I couldn't move. The livestream cameras were probably zooming in on my family, turning our private pain into public entertainment. I wanted to scream, to tell them they were wrong, but the words caught in my throat. Instead, I stood, my chair scraping against the stage, and faced them. "Ethan, please," Mom said, her voice breaking as she stepped forward. "We're here because we love you. You're killing yourself with this obsession." "It's not an obsession," I said, my voice low but firm. "It's my job. My life. Your life." Aunt Clara snapped, her arms crossed. "You call sitting in the dark, staring at a screen, a life? You've missed every family event this year. You didn't even come to Lily's birthday." Lily flinched, and guilt stabbed me. I'd meant to call, to send a gift, but practice had consumed me. The tournament was all I could think about. I'm sorry, Lil, I said, meeting her eyes. But this is bigger than you know. This is my chance. Chance for what? Grandpa's voice was gravelly, tired. To waste more time? We're trying to save you, boy. The crowd was starting to notice, murmurs rippling through the stands. My teammates hovered nearby, unsure whether to intervene. Raj caught my eye, his expression a mix of concern and confusion. I wanted to explain, to make them all understand. But how do you condense a decade of struggle into a soundbite? The stage manager stepped in, his voice clipped. Mr. Caldwell, we need to clear the stage for the next match. Can we handle this backstage? I nodded, my jaw tight, and motioned for my family to follow. The crowd's cheers felt mocking as we walked off, the weight of their stares pressing into me. Backstage, in a cramped green room, the intervention began in earnest. Mom sat across from me, her hands twisting in her lap. Ethan, we've watched you fade away. You don't eat right. You don't sleep. You don't talk to us. This gaming, it's not healthy. It's not just gaming, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm a professional. This tournament could change everything. The prize is $10 million, Mom. $10 million. Her eyes widened, but Aunt Clara scoffed. Money doesn't fix a broken soul. You're addicted, Ethan. We've read the signs. You're isolating, neglecting your responsibilities. I'm not addicted. I snapped, louder than I meant to. Lily shrank back, and I immediately regretted it. I'm sorry, okay? But you don't understand. This isn't some hobby I can quit. It's who I am. Who you are. Mom's voice cracked. You're my son, not some screen warrior. I want my boy back. Her words hit like a punch. I remembered the kid I used to be, the one who'd hug her after a bad day, who'd promised to make her proud. But I wasn't that kid anymore, and I couldn't go back. Not now, not when I was so close. The room fell silent, the hum of the arena seeping through the walls. I looked at Lily, hoping for an ally, but she just stared at the floor. Grandpa cleared his throat. We're not leaving until you agree to get help, he said. We've got a counselor lined up. A program. A program. The word felt like a cage. I stood, pacing the small room, my hands clenched. I'm not sick, I said. I'm not broken. I'm competing in the biggest tournament of my life, and you're asking me to throw it away. We're asking you to choose us, Mom whispered. The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I wanted to scream that I wasn't choosing between them and gaming, that I could have both, but the doubt in their eyes told me they'd never believe it. The tournament wasn't just about me. It was about proving them wrong, proving I wasn't a failure. But as I looked at Lily, her face pale and uncertain, I wondered if I was fighting the wrong battle. The stage manager knocked, his voice urgent. Ethan, you're needed for the post-match interview. 5 minutes. I nodded, my mind racing. I had to get back out there, to face the cameras, the fans, the world. But my family wasn't done. They'd come all this way, staged this spectacle, and they weren't leaving without a fight. And neither was I. The green room felt like a pressure cooker, the air thick with unspoken accusations. I stood by the door, itching to escape to the interview, but Mom's tearful gaze pinned me in place. Ethan, we're not the enemy, she said, her voice trembling. We just want you to be okay. Okay. I repeated, frustration bubbling up. I'm more than okay, Mom. I'm one match away from winning $10 million. I'm living my dream, and you're turning it into a nightmare. Aunt Clara crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing. Dreams don't make you miss your sister's birthday or ignore your grandfather's heart surgery. You're not present, Ethan. You're lost in that game. I flinched, the guilt hitting harder than I'd admit. Lily's birthday had slipped through the cracks, and I hadn't known about Grandpa's surgery until weeks later. But they didn't understand the grind. Endless practice, team strategy sessions, analyzing opponents' playstyles. Esports wasn't just pressing buttons, it was mental chess at breakneck speed. I'm not lost, I said, my voice low. I'm focused. There's a difference. Lily finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. You didn't even call, Ethan. You used to tell me everything, and now it's like you're gone. Her words cut deeper than anything else. Lily had been my shadow growing up, sneaking into my room to watch me play, cheering when I won local tournaments. She'd believed in me when no one else did. Seeing her now, her eyes red and uncertain, made my chest ache. I'm still here, Lil, I said softly. I'm just trying to make something of myself. The stage manager poked his head in again. Ethan, now? The press is waiting. I glanced at my family, torn between the stage and the people who'd raised me. I have to do this, I said. But we're not done talking. Just wait here, okay? Mom nodded, but her expression was grim. Aunt Clara muttered something under her breath, and Grandpa just looked tired. Lily gave me a small, sad smile, and I carried that image with me as I walked back to the arena. The interview was a blur of flashing cameras and canned questions. Spectre 7, how does it feel to clutch that semifinal win? What's your strategy for the finals? I answered on autopilot, my mind stuck on the green room. The reporter, a perky woman with a headset, leaned in. We noticed some family drama during the match. Care to comment? The question hit like a sucker punch. The live stream had caught everything, and now my personal life was clickbait. I forced a smile. Just some family cheering me on, I lied. They're my biggest fans. Backstage, my teammates were waiting, their excitement dimmed by concern. Raj pulled me aside. Dude, what was that? Your family just crashed the stage with a freaking intervention sign. I know, I said, rubbing my temples. They think I'm addicted. They don't get it. Raj frowned, his usual grin gone. They flew across the country for this, man. That's intense. He wasn't wrong. Mom lived in Ohio, Aunt Clara in Michigan, and Grandpa and Lily had come from Pennsylvania. They'd coordinated this, planned it like a military operation, all because they thought I was spiraling. I wanted to be angry, but part of me wondered if they were right, not about addiction, but about the cost. I'd missed so much, not because I didn't care, but because gaming demanded everything. The team manager, Sarah, called us for a strategy meeting. The finals were tomorrow, and we needed to prep. But as we reviewed opponent footage, my mind kept drifting. I saw Lily's face, Mom's tears, Grandpa's frail hands gripping that banner. They thought they were saving me, but they were dismantling the one thing that made me feel whole. After the meeting, I found my family in a hotel lounge across from the arena. They'd checked in, clearly planning to stay until they fixed me. Mom stood as I approached, her eyes searching mine. Ethan, we're not trying to hurt you. We just were scared. Scared of what? I asked, sitting across from them. That I'm happy? That I'm successful? Successful? Aunt Clara's voice was sharp. You're living in a one-bedroom apartment, surviving on ramen and energy drinks. You don't have a family, a partner, a future. This isn't success. Her words stung, painting my life as a failure when I'd worked so hard to prove otherwise. I have a future, I said. If we win tomorrow, I'll have enough to buy a house, to take care of all of you. Why can't you see that? Because we don't want your money, Mom said, her voice breaking. We want you. The lounge grew quiet, the weight of her words settling over us. I looked at Lily, who was picking at her nails, avoiding my gaze. Grandpa coughed, a dry, rattling sound that reminded me of his surgery, the one I hadn't been there for. Guilt gnawed at me, but so did resentment. They'd chosen the worst possible moment to do this, humiliating me in front of the world. I need you to trust me, I said finally. Just for one more day? Let me play the finals. Then we'll talk, I promise. Mom hesitated, then nodded. One day, Ethan. But we're not giving up on you. I left the lounge feeling like I'd won a temporary reprieve, but the real battle was just beginning. Tomorrow, I'd face the best team in the world on the biggest stage of my life. And somehow, I had to prove to my family that I wasn't the broken man they thought I was. Sleep eluded me that night, my hotel room a cage of flickering thoughts and restless energy. The finals loomed, a $10 million dream within reach, but my family's intervention cast a shadow over everything. I kept replaying Lily's words. It's like you're gone. Was I? Had I drifted so far from them that they felt they had to storm a tournament to reach me? By morning, my eyes were gritty, my body heavy, but adrenaline kicked in as I entered the arena. The finals were a best-of-5 against Iron Legion, a South Korean team known for ruthless precision. My team, Raj, Mia, and Carlos, huddled backstage, our usual banter replaced by tense silence. They'd seen the intervention on the live stream, and though they didn't say it, I knew they were worried. Not just about the match, but about me. Focus, Ethan, Mia said, her voice sharp but kind. We need Spectre 7 out there, not whatever that was yesterday. I nodded, slipping on my headset. The arena was a sea of lights and noise, 20,000 fans chanting for blood and glory. I scanned the crowd, half expecting to see my family with another banner, but they weren't there. Part of me was relieved. Part of me felt hollow. The first match started brutally. Iron Legion played like machines, their movements synchronized, their strategies airtight. We lost the first round in 10 minutes, our defenses crumbling under their onslaught. Raj cursed through the comms, and Carlos's sniper shots missed their mark. My own plays were sloppy, my mind split between the game and the green room argument. "Get it together, Spectre," Raj snapped after we respawned. "You're our anchor. We can't lose you." He was right. I was the team strategist, the one who read the enemy's moves and called the shots. I took a deep breath, forcing my family's faces out of my mind. The second round was better. We adapted, countered their flanks, and secured a narrow victory. The crowd roared, and for a moment, I felt alive again, the thrill of the game drowning out everything else. But during the break, Sarah pulled me aside. "Your family's here," she said, her tone cautious. "They're in the VIP section. They asked to see you after the match." My stomach twisted. I couldn't deal with another intervention, not now. "Tell them I'll talk after the finals," I said. "I can't lose focus." Sarah nodded, but her eyes held a warning. "Don't let this mess with your head, Ethan. We're counting on you." The third round was a grind. Iron Legion adapted to our counters, and the score stayed neck and neck. I landed a critical headshot, securing a kill that tipped the balance, and we won by a hair. 2-1. One more win, and we'd take the championship. The arena vibrated with energy, but my chest felt tight. I kept glancing at the VIP section, wondering what my family was thinking. Between rounds, I checked my phone. A text from Lily. "I'm proud of you, but I'm scared. Please don't hate us." My throat tightened. I typed a quick reply. "I don't hate you. Just let me finish this dot," and shoved the phone back in my pocket. The fourth round was chaos. Iron Legion unleashed a new strategy, baiting us into overextending and then wiping us with a coordinated push. We lost badly. The score was tied, and the final round would decide everything. My hands shook as I gripped the mouse, sweat dripping down my back. The crowd's cheers felt distant, like I was underwater. Raj leaned over, his voice low. "Ethan, whatever's going on, lock it down. This is our moment." I nodded, but my mind was a battlefield. Mom's tears, Aunt Clara's accusations, Lily's fear, they clawed at me. I wasn't just fighting for the prize. I was fighting to prove I wasn't the failure they saw. But what if they were right? What if I'd sacrificed too much? The final round began, and I forced myself to focus. Iron Legion came out swinging, but we matched them, move for move. I called a risky play, a feint to draw their sniper out, and it worked. Carlos landed the shot, and we gained the upper hand. The timer ticked down, the score tied. 10 seconds left. I spotted an opening, a gap in their defense, and went for it. My character sprinted, dodged a grenade, and planted the objective. The arena erupted as the screen flashed victory. We'd won. $10 million. The championship. My team leapt from their chairs, screaming, hugging, but I felt numb. The crowd chanted Spectre 7, but all I could think about was the VIP section. My family had watched me win, but would they see it as a victory? As confetti rained down, Sarah ushered us to the stage for the trophy presentation. I scanned the crowd and saw them, Mom, Aunt Clara, Grandpa, Lily, standing in the VIP section. Mom was crying, but her smile was proud. Lily waved, her face lit up. Even Aunt Clara looked softened, clapping slowly. Grandpa gave me a nod, the kind he used to give when I was a kid who'd done something right. The presenter handed me the microphone, and the arena quieted. I hadn't planned to speak, but the words came anyway. "This is for my team," I said, my voice shaking. "And for my family, who showed up for me, even when we didn't agree. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." The crowd cheered, but my eyes were on Lily. She mouthed, "I love you." And I felt something loosen in my chest. I'd won the tournament, but the real fight, mending things with my family, was just beginning. The trophy felt heavier than I'd expected, its polished surface cold against my palms. The arena lights dimmed, and the crowd's cheers echoed in my ears as we left the stage, my team still buzzing with adrenaline. But my focus was on the VIP section, where my family waited. The victory was mine, but their presence felt like a question I hadn't answered. Could I have both, this life and them? Backstage, Raj slapped my shoulder, grinning. You pulled it off, man. That last play? Legendary. Mia and Carlos echoed his excitement, but I could only muster a half smile. The $10 million prize was life-changing. $2.5 million per teammate after taxes, but it didn't erase the rift with my family. Sarah led us to a private room for the press conference, but I asked for a moment alone. She nodded, sensing my mood, and I slipped away to find my family. They were in a quiet corner of the VIP lounge, the banner from yesterday folded on a table. Mom stood as I approached, her eyes red but hopeful. Ethan, she said, her voice soft. You were incredible out there. I didn't expect that. Thanks, I said, my throat tight. But why are you here? After yesterday, I thought. We saw the live stream. Lily cut in, stepping forward. The whole world saw it, Ethan. But we stayed because we wanted to understand. Aunt Clara cleared her throat, her usual sternness softened. We didn't realize how big this was. Not just the money, but what it means to you. Grandpa nodded, his hands folded over his cane. I don't understand those games, boy. But I saw you up there, fighting. You looked alive. Their words hit me harder than the victory. For years, I'd felt like I was shouting into a void, trying to prove my worth. Now, they'd seen me. Not just the kid who disappointed them, but the man who'd built something real. Still, the hurt lingered. They'd humiliated me, turned my passion into a diagnosis. Forgiveness wasn't easy. I appreciate that, I said, choosing my words carefully. But you ambushed me, in front of everyone. Do you know how that felt? Mom's face crumpled. We thought we were losing you, Ethan. We thought if we didn't act, you'd disappear. I'm not disappearing, I said, my voice rising. I'm building a life. This, I gestured toward the arena, is my life. Why can't you trust me to know what I'm doing? Lily stepped closer, her eyes searching mine. Because you stopped talking to us. You didn't tell us about the tournament, the money, any of it. We only knew you were gone all the time. Guilt twisted in my gut. She was right. I'd shut them out, not because I didn't care, but because explaining felt impossible. How do you make someone who's never held a controller understand the rush of a clutch play, the bond of a team, the weight of a dream? I should have told you more, I admitted. But you didn't ask. You just assumed I was broken. We're here now, Grandpa said, his voice steady. We're listening. The press conference was starting soon, but I couldn't leave this unresolved. I need you to see me, I said. Not as an addict, not as a failure, but as me. I'm not quitting gaming. It's who I am. But I don't want to lose you either. Mom reached for my hand, her grip warm and trembling. We don't want to lose you either. Can we start over? I nodded, the knot in my chest loosening. After the press conference. Meet me at the hotel. We'll talk. Really talk. The press conference was a whirlwind of questions about the match, our strategy, the prize money. I answered with a smile, but my mind was on the conversation ahead. When it ended, I found my family at the hotel restaurant, a quiet booth in the corner. The banner was gone, replaced by a tentative hope in their eyes. We talked for hours, longer than we had in years. I told them about the grind, the late nights, the pressure of being Spectre 7. I explained how gaming had pulled me out of a dark place after Dad left, how it gave me purpose when I felt worthless. Mom listened, her eyes softening. Aunt Clara asked questions, real ones, not accusations. Grandpa shared stories of his own dreams, ones he'd let go to provide for the family. Lily admitted she'd started playing games herself, secretly, hoping to understand me. It wasn't perfect. There were still apologies to make, trust to rebuild. But for the first time, I felt like they saw me, not the caricature they'd built, but the man I'd become. As we left the restaurant, Lily hugged me, her voice muffled against my shoulder. I'm proud of you, Ethan. Even if I was scared. I'm proud of you too, Lil, I said, hugging her back. The tournament was over, but the real victory was this moment, knowing I hadn't lost them. The hotel restaurant's dim lights cast soft shadows over our booth, but the warmth of our conversation lingered. For the first time in years, I felt like my family wasn't just hearing me, they were listening. Mom's eyes held a flicker of understanding, and even Aunt Clara's sternness had softened into something like respect. But the weight of yesterday's intervention still hung between us, a wound not yet healed. As we left the restaurant, Lily lingered behind, tugging at my sleeve. "Can we talk? Just us?" she asked, her voice small but urgent. I nodded, and we found a quiet corner in the hotel lobby, away from the bustle of tournament fans. Lily sat cross-legged on a cushioned bench, her phone clutched tightly. "I didn't want to do the intervention," she confessed. "Mom and Aunt Clara kept saying you were in trouble, and I got scared. I thought maybe they were right." Her honesty disarmed me. "It's okay, Lil," I said, sitting beside her. "You were worried. I get it. But I should have known better," she said, her eyes glistening. "You used to let me watch you play, remember? You'd explain all the moves, the strategies. I thought it was so cool. Then you got big, and you stopped." I winced. She was right. As my career took off, I'd pulled away, consumed by practice and pressure. I'd left her behind, assuming she wouldn't understand. "I didn't mean to shut you out," I said. "It's just this world moves fast." I got caught up. Lily nodded, swiping at her eyes. "I started playing Apex too. Not like you, but I wanted to feel close to you again." The admission hit me like a headshot. My little sister, sneaking into my world, trying to bridge the gap I'd created. "You're playing Apex?" I asked, a grin breaking through. "What's your main?" She laughed, a small, shy sound. "Wraith. I'm not great, but I'm learning." "Wraith's solid," I said, nudging her. "Next time I'm home, we'll duo. I'll show you some tricks." Her face lit up, and for a moment, we were kids again, huddled in my room, sharing a controller. But the moment faded as I remembered the bigger issue. "Lil, I need you to help me with Mom and the others. They still think I'm one step from ruin." She nodded, serious again. "I'll try. But you have to show up, Ethan. Not just for games. For us." The promise was easy to make, harder to keep. But I meant it. "Deal," I said, ruffling her hair like I used to. She swatted my hand, laughing, and I felt a spark of hope. Maybe we could rebuild this. The next morning, I met my team for a victory breakfast. The $10 million was being processed, and sponsorship offers were already flooding in. Raj was talking about buying a car, Mia about investing in a gaming academy, and Carlos about taking his mom on a cruise. I should have been ecstatic, but my mind was on the conversation with Lily and the work ahead with my family. Mom called as we finished eating. "Ethan, we're heading to the airport soon," she said. "Can we see you before we go?" I agreed to meet them at the hotel. When I arrived, they were packed and ready, their faces a mix of pride and uncertainty. Aunt Clara spoke first, her tone softer than usual. "We watched the whole match, Ethan. I don't understand it, but you're good. Really good." "Thanks," I said, surprised by her admission. "I wish you'd seen that before the banner." She flinched, but nodded. "We made a mistake. We should have talked to you first." It wasn't a full apology, but it was close. Mom stepped forward, her eyes searching mine. "We're proud of you, Ethan, but we're still worried. This life, it's so intense. Promise us you'll take care of yourself." "I will," I said, meaning it. "And I'll be better about staying in touch. No more disappearing." Grandpa clapped a hand on my shoulder, his grip surprisingly strong. "You're a fighter, boy. Always were. Just don't forget where you came from." Their words stayed with me as they left for the airport. I felt lighter, like a weight had lifted, but I knew it wasn't over. Trust takes time, and I'd have to prove I could balance my career and my family. The tournament was a victory, but this, reconnecting with them, was the real challenge. Back at the arena, the team was prepping for a fan meet and greet. As I signed posters and shook hands, I kept thinking about Lily's confession, Mom's worry, Grandpa's pride. Gaming had given me purpose, but family was my anchor. I'd spent years running from their expectations, but now I saw a way forward, one where I didn't have to choose. The fan meet and greet was a whirlwind of selfies, autographs, and excited chatter, but my mind was elsewhere. The victory high was fading, replaced by a quiet resolve to mend things with my family. The $10 million prize was a game changer, literally, but it wouldn't mean much if I lost the people who mattered most. As I signed a kid's Spectre 7 jersey, I made a mental promise, no more shutting them out. After the event, I called Lily. She picked up on the first ring, her voice bright. "Hey, champ, you're famous now, huh?" I laughed, the sound easing the tension in my chest. "Yeah, something like that. You guys at the airport? Just got through security, she said. Mom's still freaking out about how loud the arena was. Grandpa's telling everyone you're his grandson. The image made me smile. Listen, Lil, I meant what I said. I'm coming home soon. We'll play some Apex, maybe get you to platinum rank. Platinum? Slow down, hotshot, she teased. But I'd like that. We talked a bit longer, and I felt a spark of the connection we'd lost. When we hung up, I texted Mom, Aunt Clara, and Grandpa, promising to visit in a few weeks. The tournament was over, but the next phase, balancing my career and family, was just beginning. Back at my apartment that night, I stared at the trophy on my desk, its gold surface catching the light. The money was being wired, and my share would give me options, a better place, savings, maybe even a fund for Lily's college. But the real prize was the chance to rebuild what I'd neglected. I opened my laptop and started a group chat with my family, sharing a link to the tournament highlights. This is what I do, I wrote. I want you to understand. Mom replied first. It's a lot to take in, but we're trying. Love you, Ethan. Aunt Clara sent a thumbs-up emoji, progress, for her. Grandpa wrote, looks like a war out there. Proud of you, boy. Lily sent a string of fire emojis and a clip of my winning play. Their responses, small as they were, felt like a bridge forming. The next week was a blur of interviews, sponsor meetings, and team celebrations. But I carved out time to research gaming addiction, trying to see it from my family's perspective. The articles Aunt Clara had sent weren't entirely wrong. Gaming could be a problem for some, but they didn't fit me. I wasn't escaping reality. I was shaping it. Still, I understood their fear. They saw the hours, the isolation, and assumed the worst. I called a therapist, not because I thought I was addicted, but because I wanted tools to manage stress and balance my life. The first session was awkward, but it helped me see how my silence had fueled their worries. I'd been so focused on proving myself that I'd forgotten to let them in. A month later, I flew to Pennsylvania to visit. Mom's house smelled like her famous lasagna, and Lily tackled me with a hug before I could set my bag down. Grandpa was in his recliner, looking stronger than he had at the tournament. Aunt Clara, visiting for the weekend, even cracked a smile. We ate, laughed, and talked, not about gaming, but about life, memories, the future. After dinner, Lily dragged me to her room, where she'd set up her gaming rig. Ready to get carried, big bro? She said, tossing me a controller. We played Apex for hours, her wraith darting around my specter. She wasn't half bad, and I coached her through a few clutch moments, laughing when she squealed after a win. Mom poked her head in, watching us with a smile. You too, she said, shaking her head. Just don't stay up all night. For the first time, I felt like they saw gaming as part of me, not the enemy. It wasn't perfect. Aunt Clara still asked if I'd considered a real job, but it was progress. As I lay in the guest room that night, I realized the intervention, painful as it was, had forced us to face the distance between us. It wasn't about gaming. It was about connection. The visit ended too soon, but I left with a plan. I'd call more, visit when I could, and invite them to my next tournament. The $10 million gave me freedom, but family gave me purpose. I wasn't just Spectre 7 anymore. I was Ethan, son, brother, grandson, trying to make it all work. Back in my apartment, the glow of the tournament victory felt distant, overshadowed by the quiet work of rebuilding with my family. The $10 million prize had hit my bank account, and my team was already planning for the next season, but my focus was on the promises I'd made in Pennsylvania. I wanted to prove I could be Spectre 7 and still be Ethan, the son, the brother, the grandson they needed. I started small. Weekly calls with Mom became a ritual, her voice brighter each time we talked. I sent Grandpa a new tablet so he could watch my matches online, and he sent back grainy selfies of himself cheering at the screen. Aunt Clara, still skeptical, started asking about my strategies, her questions laced with cautious curiosity. Lily was the easiest. She and I played Apex online every weekend, her skills improving with every match. You're gonna owe me a pro contract soon, I teased her once, and her laugh was worth more than any trophy. But balance wasn't easy. The esports world didn't slow down. Sponsors wanted appearances, my team needed practice, and new tournaments loomed. I leaned on the therapist's advice, setting boundaries to protect my time. No more all-night practice sessions. I capped them at midnight. I ate real meals, not just energy bars, and made time for workouts. It wasn't just for my family. It was for me, to keep the burnout at bay. 6 months later, I invited my family to a smaller tournament in Chicago, one with a $1 million prize. This time, I sent them VIP passes and a schedule, explaining what to expect. When they arrived, there was no banner, no intervention, just nervous smiles and hugs. Mom wore an Eclipse Vanguard t-shirt, slightly too big, and Lily had painted her nails with my team's colors. Grandpa clutched a program, pointing out my name like it was a headline. Even Aunt Clara seemed impressed by the arena's scale. During the match, I glanced at them in the stands. Lily was cheering, Mom was gripping her seat, and Grandpa was explaining something to Aunt Clara, who nodded thoughtfully. We didn't win that time, second place, but their presence made it feel like a victory. After, we went to dinner, and they asked about my plays, my teammates, the strategy behind it all. For the first time, they weren't just tolerating my career, they were part of it. Later that night, Lily pulled me aside. "I'm sorry about the intervention," she said, her voice low. "I didn't know how much this meant to you. I didn't make it easy to know," I admitted. "But we're good now, right?" She grinned. "Yeah, as long as you keep carrying me in Apex." The road wasn't perfect. There were still missed calls, moments of doubt, and the occasional lecture from Aunt Clara about long-term plans. But we were talking, really talking, and that made all the difference. Gaming had once been my escape, a way to drown out the noise of a broken home. Now, it was a bridge, connecting me to the people I'd almost lost. A year after the $10 million tournament, I bought a house near Mom's, big enough for family visits. I set up a gaming room for Lily, complete with a rig that made her squeal. The money gave me options, but the real wealth was the trust we'd rebuilt. I wasn't just a pro gamer anymore. I was a son, a brother, a grandson, proving that dreams and family didn't have to be at odds. As I sat with Lily one evening, coaching her through a match, Mom brought us snacks, a smile on her face. "You two are hopeless," she said, but her tone was warm. Grandpa shuffled in, watching the screen with a mix of confusion and pride. Aunt Clara sent a text, "Saw your last match online. Not bad." High praise, coming from her. The intervention had been a disaster, a public spectacle born of fear and misunderstanding. But it forced us to face the distance between us, to fight for something better. I'd won the tournament, the money, the fame, but the real victory was this: a family that saw me, not as an addict or a failure, but as Ethan, doing what he loved and loving them back.